Everybody getting money.
And the hood getting money.
Everybody getting money.
OG getting money.
Boy, the hood getting money.
Young boy getting money.
Say my rounds getting money.
The whole set getting money.
Everybody getting money.
The whole hood getting money.
Everybody getting money.
My guys getting money.
Boy, the hood getting money.
Free ball getting money.
Say my rounds getting money.
Money.
Get money, get money, get money, get
Money.
money, get money, get money, get money,
Money.
get money, get money, get money, get money, get money, get money.
Free ball getting money.
I
All
hear
right,
the
welcome
key,
back
what
to
you
another
gonna-
CSRM podcast. This is going to be a very difficult, different podcast. For those of you that are listening, you are going to be getting a different podcast than those that are watching. Those that are watching, if you notice, there's going to be a lot of weird transitions, weird glitching, things like that. The reason why is today we're talking about costs and how much it's going to cost you to do this kind of thing within your ministry. And so we're going to talk about the financial costs mainly, as well as some time, things like that, like we talked about last week. This is one of the biggest things that we like to throw around, is the fact that we can't afford to do this kind of stuff. And that's part of what we want to address, is the fact that you can actually afford to do this kind of stuff. I have 6 different cameras going right now, ranging from what you carry in your pocket to a high-end studio camera. We use another camera as well here with CSRM in our podcasting. But today I want to just kind of walk through some of that, what the estimated cost would be, and different things like that. If you actually go to Amazon and search for just a HD video camera, what will come up is anything from a price range of $15 all the way up to over 6 figures for a studio set. This is something where this kind of thing that we're doing here is something that you can do based off of your budget. You don't have to do video, you can just do audio, which we're going to talk more of the audio stuff on the actual audio podcast. This one is the video content or podcast, and so we're going to talk video here. The first camera we've got is actually a camera that still uses physical tape. It's a digital camera, but it uses physical tape. It's a very old Canon GL camera. It's about 10, 12 years old. It actually belonged to my father when he was running a videography company back when I was in junior high. It still works. It still runs. We still use it with CSRM for some of our on-location stuff. We used it for the BSN podcast that was just released. We used it for all of the podcasts that we filmed at the Lady Golf Tournament back a couple years ago. You can tell, if you have a trained eye, you can tell that it's definitely not HD. Even though it is, it's not what we would classify HD today. There's a little bit of grain to it. The coloring's a little bit off. The audio isn't quite as clear. It's not necessarily a top-end camera. It was at one time, and I don't know the exact price that it ran, but we were doing professional videography, so we paid at least, I would say, probably $600 or $700 for that camera at the time. Now, you can't even find the tapes unless you go to Walmart or to Best Buy, something like that, and so it's no longer being used. You can probably find one pretty cheap online, but you also have to make sure you have the software to be able to run that kind of camera. The second camera I have here is a much more modern digital HD. It's actually a 4K camera. This is the one that is used by the church that my wife and I are helping plant at the moment. It ran up to, I think they said it was about $1,200 when they bought it. It's a middle range camera, I would say, price wise, but it puts out very good audio. It puts out very good video. You can tell it's a little bit clear, even though we're a little bit crooked based off of where I'm sitting at the moment. But it is a very good camera, but it's going to run you up into the $1,200 mark at least to purchase. The advantage of that camera, you're going to get very good output, very good video, very good picture, very good audio, all that kind of stuff. The bad thing with that kind of camera is that because it's a 4K, you have to have a ton of space on your computer to be able to do this stuff. I can't even put this kind of stuff onto my MacBook because my MacBook does not have the right kind of spacing for it. We have to have a special 3 terabyte computer that we use for the church to be able to actually store the video. If you've got the equipment, it's great. If you don't, you probably want to go another route. The fourth camera I have is the one I've been using the past couple podcasts. This one is actually straight off of my MacBook. This is one where you're buying the computer already to run the software to do all your editing. It's a cost you've already added in. My MacBook is a refurbished. It's an older one, so it runs a little bit slower, but it still works. It ran me about $500. And so, it's basically a $500 camera, but you also have to add in the fact that it also runs your software and it holds a bunch of other stuff for you. This camera down here is actually an iPad. We paid about $300 for it. It runs all this. It runs Office stuff. It runs all these other things, but it also works well as a camera. We also filmed the Taekwondo podcast at Reach this year on that. It gives you good HD video. It's very easy to move the video onto a MacBook if that's what you're using. Move it into iMovie. It comes with iMovie, even all that kind of stuff. It does have a little bit less audio quality, but the picture is going to be good. And then the last camera I have is actually my iPhone. This is an iPhone 7 Plus. Obviously, the newer iPhones have better cameras, better picture, better video, all that kind of stuff. The one thing you have to watch for is if you notice the shape of the video changed, because this is being taken with the phone. Right now it's set in a portrait mode, and so because of that, we've got some weird stuff going on the sides. If you flip the camera sideways, you get a nice landscape mode like you normally would a 16:9, and so that's something you also have to consider, as well as the fact that if you're taking long videos, you have to have that kind of space on your phone. Now, all that to say, most of you probably don't realize that we have filmed all of our podcasts throughout the past couple years that we've been doing this on different cameras, different devices, things like that. Some of you probably didn't even notice that there was any kind of change. Those of you that only listen to this through the audio probably noticed no difference whatsoever. Your budget does not necessarily determine whether you can do this or not. It just determines how you're going to be able to do it. Couple things that we want to talk through as we go through the rest of this episode, which may be a little bit shorter, but it's full of some stuff that you're going to need if you're going to want to do this kind of stuff. The first thing is you need to know your platform. We use YouTube, we use SoundCloud, and we're hopefully by the time this is releasing, finally gotten approved for Apple. That's 2 audio, 1 visual. YouTube, it can handle a bunch of different types of video files. It can handle bunch of different types of formatting, different types of quality, all that kind of stuff. So we're able to use multiple cameras, multiple things, all that kind of stuff. We're able to use whatever we got on hand and be able to upload it, everything else. Same thing goes with your editing platform. What are you using? iMovie is free if you have a MacBook, an iPhone, or an iPad. That's what we use here at CSRM. It's a free program, but you can do all sorts of stuff, including green screen. You can do things like glitch effects. You can do all these different kind of stuff with iMovie if you take the time just to watch the tutorials, or even just go to YouTube, again, because it is a search engine. Go to YouTube. It'll teach you how to do all sorts of different stuff within iMovie. You do have higher end costing ones. Windows, unfortunately, has basically cut their Movie Maker. Some models still carry it. Some of them you have to purchase it. Google does not really offer anything other than YouTube Studio, where you can do some minor editing. But again, depending on what you're looking for is going to decide what kind of stuff you want to buy. Some of you that are just going to record stuff off of your phone, of you walking, talking, things like that, YouTube Studio will work perfectly, or the editing software on your phone. Those of you that are coming with a higher end studio, you guys are going to want a higher end editing software. Final Cut Pro, at least as far as I know, is still the top of the line for editing softwares. And it can run you $200 or $300 depending on what kind of computer you have. Know your platform. Again, this goes back to your audience. Are you trying to reach an audience that is going to be drawn in by the visuals, or are you going to be reaching an audience that's drawn in by the story? Side note, millennials and the generation after that are still in the high school age, The story is what's going to draw them in, not the visuals, even though that's contrary to what most people want to tell you. The stories are what's going to draw them in, not necessarily the quality of the video. Other generations, the quality of video may draw them in. The stories may not matter so much. Again, know your audience, know your platform. The second big thing with this is actually knowing what your budget is. Go into this knowing how much money you can spend. If you can spend a ton of money, if you've got a platform of people that are wanting high-end audio and no visual, spend the money on the recording stuff for that, which if you want to hear more about the audio recording equipment, things like that, you can go listen to the audio podcast. If you're dealing with one that wants more visuals, go ahead, get the bigger camera, get the studio, get the green screen, the lights, all that kind of stuff. If you're looking for an audience that just wants to hear from you, look around, see what you can do. Go get a middle range price camera, go get middle range software, a good computer that can run it all and upload it quickly, because they're going to want to hear from you more. Know your audience, know your platform, and then especially know your budget. This is something that you don't want your media ministry, or especially the media side of another ministry, whether it's sports or family or any of these other things, you don't want it to overcome the rest of your budget as far as the church is concerned. Hang on one second. That's another thing you have to watch for when using your phone as the camera. People calling in randomly while you're trying to shoot. But again, know your budget, know your platform, and the other big thing with this, and it goes to knowing your budget, is be willing to invest into this. It's going to cost you time, obviously. We talked about that last time with the commitment. Time filming, time recording, time editing, time uploading, all that kind of stuff. You're already investing your time. Make sure that you're also willing to invest a little bit of money into this. Don't just do this to say, oh, we need to do this, and so we're not going to put any money into it. We're just going to do this to say we're doing it. That's not going to get you the views. That's not going to get the message across. That's not even a good example of stewardship from a church perspective. Invest into this like you would any other ministry. It doesn't have to be a ton of money. It can be a very small amount of money. If you're just using the iPhone, you don't really have to invest any money into the recording equipment, so invest into getting a computer that can actually do the editing and put it out there the way you need it to. Know your budget, know your platform, know your audience. Don't take it for granted just because this is a secondary ministry. We said this before, your online campus is just as important as the people that are in the pews as well. Don't neglect them just for the sake of saving a few dollars. This kind of ends a little bit of the tutorial on podcasting. We're going to do one more on podcasting that talks a little bit more on the ins and outs and some tips and tools and things like that. Again, I'm Andrew Fouts. I'm the Director of Digital Resource Development here at CSRM. I'm filming here at the Cleveland Public Library, where they graciously have offered to allow us to use their studio for free, which, again, cost effective. There are places like this that'll let you do this kind of stuff for free. Take advantage of them. But again, leave us some comments on YouTube if you guys have more questions, if you guys want better pricing on some different equipment or suggestions of where to go to purchase, things like that. Be sure to check out our website. We've got some other interesting stuff, some other videos, things like that. They're coming out of Overwhelming Victory Flicks. We talk a lot about Overwhelming Victory Press, which is our publishing house for books, but we also have a production house for video, audio stuff, like these podcasts, like the videos that are going to be coming out with Tammy Forsyth on ministry integration. Go check us out there. Leave us some comments. Come back next time. One more time, we're going to talk about podcasting on this podcast, and we're going to share some tips and tools and things like that. So I hope you'll join us again next time.
Y'all, here's the gospel truth. We were made with a plan. Much more than trapping and grinding and risking jail time, fam. Perfection fought for you because he love you so. And if you want some more, then holla at me, though, you heard me. Everybody getting money.
And the hood getting money.
Everybody getting money.
OG getting money.
Boy, the hood getting money.
Young boy getting money.
Say my rounds getting money.
Whole set getting money.
Everybody getting money.
Whole hood getting money.
Everybody getting money.
Fly girls getting money.
Boy, the hood getting money.
Free ball getting money.
Say my rounds getting money.
Money.
Get money, get money, get money,
Money.
get money, get money, get money,
Money.
get money, get money, get money, get money, get money, get money, get money.
Free ball getting money, herb.